college students.
Good afternoon. OCUSA, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Amaka Okobi, and I represent the youth in college. During our discussion, other than just highlighting what we need to do to help Oraifite, we also met and spoke about what we as individuals wish to do, our individual majors, and we came up with certain things that fit our majors so that we can actually see ourselves, providing this type of support that we want Oraifite to have. So, just a short list of things that we want to do is to improve and actually create a sewer system because, as some of my colleagues have said, the gutters are not cutting it. We really need to improve and create a sewer system that has clean water running through Oraifite. We need to develop an Oraifite-based power system based on most likely renewable resources. Solar systems would be the most ideal ones. And with a degree in technical systems management, and also a petroleum engineer in our midst, studying to be a petroleum engineer, then we can actually put that together and make it happen. We need to not only provide healthcare, but we need to educate people on healthcare. From the basic sanitation to washing your hands, to getting up in the morning and changing your clothes, not wearing the same thing day in, day out. I'm telling you, it happens. It's not unknown. Educate people on basic healthcare, basic sanitation, and make sure that it doesn't just look clean, that it is clean. And to do that, we need not only doctors and nurses and pharmacists, we need educators. So we need people to go home and actually implement their degrees, not just collecting money and sending it home. We need people going home. We need to provide resources to making education more affordable and not just sending kids out to work for their education. We need to make education more affordable. We need to provide some financial aid for school, especially primary and secondary school. We need to get primary school to be more affordable, or at least closer to free. We can't have people shelling out money to send their children out to primary 1. And striving towards free primary education. We need to also provide more job opportunities in Nigeria. As we said, fixing the roads would just be one thing to provide job opportunities. There are lots of other ways to get more money, more jobs into Oraifite. Thank you for your time.
I also wanted to add in, we didn't just come up with these ideas, we also discussed our own Nigerian American experience. We discussed how we grew up and the number of Nigerians in our lives, our communities, how to preserve our culture, and just the little things in life that we aren't able to communicate amongst ourselves for whatever reasons. So we also got to cover all those areas, and we were able to share that with each other and give each other ideas on how to make how to improve on our Nigerian culture and make more of a difference amongst ourselves and other Nigerians.
Thank you.
We are getting wonderful ideas, and I'm happy that we're doing this thing, and we promise you we're not going to drop the ball.
Hello, my name is Chinyelo Adane Ndubisi, representing the Knowledge of Oraifite. And we all actually agree here because, being post-grad, we move forward within our fields. So I'm going to just quickly talk about education, and then we're going to go into needs assessment and also more political or economic perspective in terms of what we believe would work for Oraifite. So as an educator, we believe, piggybacking off of what college which the college group was speaking about, providing clear systems where Oraifite children or young adults have access to the higher education within Nigeria. I'm sorry. So where they don't feel like they have to go to other places in order to get a higher education, or they don't feel like they can only access this education because they, their families are rich. So that you can bring back the leaders of Oraifite back into Oraifite to do the day-to-day work that needs to be done in order to build Oraifite. So this looks like setting up nonprofit foundations here in the US for fundraising or within Nigeria. So people have a face to the academics of Nigeria versus just Nigerians who are in America. We also believe in, or in terms of education, providing a more systemic transformational basis or foundation for the values that are really intrinsic in order to sustain the kind of change that you want in Oraifite. So instilling things like informal health education in schools, primary schools, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, instilling values in kids from a very early on age so they can sustain the kind of change that they have to embody to go out and do the work that they would do in order to build Oraifite.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Genekachukwu Agudolfi. I am from Oraifite, and I'm going to talk to you about need assessment. And I thought this was a very fantastic idea because some of the people in our group have not really been home in a while. And I was born at home, but I've been here since 2004. So it's like the last time I went home was in 2008, and we're not in the best position to tell what Oraifite needs as a whole. The people of Oraifite are in a better position to tell us what they need and what they need done urgently. So we're going to do a needs assessment, and people from different communities of Oraifite was going to come up with ideas on what they feel they needed to be worked on. And we're going to pick the common goals and the common factors in that and just do a generalized execution of those plans. And also, we wanted to keep in mind the community government, because I don't know what kind of government system Oraifite has in place right now, but it's probably going to be up to the people in the community with clout, people respect and listen to carry out this all these projects. Because people need to be held accountable. People need to be transparent in everything they do, so that the community understands that all this is going to be for their own best and for their own progress. Also, we talked about infrastructure, like the high school and the college kids talked about. And one of the main things we thought about was sanitation, because there's a lot of preventable diseases that can be stopped or even eradicated by just simple tweaks here and there in the community. Like, we talked about garbage disposal. Here in the US, maybe Tuesday, Thursday is your trash days. You put it out, someone comes and picks it up. But back home, we don't really have anything in place to take care of all that. So that's something that might need to be implemented. And then putting the community leaders and the community elders in charge of doing all of that. And executing something like a community day cleanup, and maybe even put it into the curriculum of the primary schools, like getting PE credits for community cleanup day, and holding the parents and the community people accountable for their kids showing up. Because if they're not participating in this, we don't expect their kids to show up, and their kids don't show up, then these things don't get done. So, and also we wanted to reduce the incidence of preventable diseases by education. Like she said, there's so much diseases that can be prevented by little things like malaria, mosquito nets. I know malaria is probably not a big deal back home, but here it is. But little things like that, like environmental work, like not leaving floods or water around or garbage for the mosquitoes to grow faster, then you can eradicate this. Teaching about high blood pressure and all these things, just, I guess, a community effort on education in total.
My name is Adobe Okomi. I'm from Ebola Oraifite. The final things, because what else would I have to say, would be a couple more points that we touched on were continuing the medical mission trips that we had in place in 2008. That was something that we definitely are interested in continuing to do and getting the people there more involved. And last but not least, the thing that wasn't mentioned was investing in Oraifite. No one wants to go to a place where they feel as though there are not enough things for them to do. I know that in my where I live, I can go to the community library, and I can go, to different places, a recreation center, as someone mentioned. And I know that I can have all of those things available to me in my community. I think even now, I would rather get treated at a Neil Hospital than at a Oraifite hospital currently. So I think that if we make our system a little bit better and invest in our community, then I think that we are going to go a lot further and have people who are more interested in coming back to Oraifite and staying. Some of the things that we talked about, ways that we could do this, would be maybe having an exchange program where a student or one of the students, American students who's here, who maybe hasn't been to Nigeria but has family in Nigeria, can actually come to Oraifite and maybe get involved in some community projects and sort of see how life is there. Because a lot of times when we come to visit, we spend a lot of time running around and seeing different family members, but we don't spend a lot of time in the community getting to know the other people. And perhaps a cultural immersion program, something similar, where you can just come. I know that if I go, I can do a 1-month rotation in medical Spanish, and I can just learn how to be taught medical Spanish, work in a hospital in Peru or in another country. But I found it difficult in medical school when I was looking for an opportunity to work in West Africa or Nigeria. I found it very hard to find a hospital that was safe enough that I could communicate with, that I can go and do a similar sort of program and kind of get that experience. So I think that's something that we should consider looking into. And then lastly, I thought that someone had mentioned in our group that the Jews actually do this very well, where they have their students come to Israel and they do an immersion program, and they actually find, they're there long enough so they can find a niche in their culture so that they can actually come back and spend the time and involve themselves in the community and actually work and envision themselves there. And that's something we really need to do, because that's important for us to see ourselves in the future of Oraifite. Thank you.
Can we stand up and clap for you, please? Thank you very much. They have done in less than 1 hour. They have done the work that probably would have taken us, all of us here, 1 year to do. And I'm really grateful that they sat down and came out with the truth. They are not biased in any way.